Features former assistant and now head coach Steve Robinson going up against the coach he used to work for.
He's always been very fair, and those are the things I tried to instill and take to use with our team.
It's the championship game of the Chase NIT as Kansas looks for an unprecedented third title in this preseason tourney, taking on another top 25 team, the Seminoles of Florida State. Hi, everybody. Joel Myers along with Dick Vitale, and welcome to the Garden. Well, Dick, it's been a policy of Kansas head coach Roy Williams, at least in the past, that he doesn't want to schedule games against former assistants. But tonight, he does not have a choice.
I'll tell you one thing, Joel. Yesterday at the turkey dinner, we were sitting talking to them, and Steve Robinson said, hey, wait a minute. I coached against him a great deal. In fact, in practice as an assistant coach, I would coach, I'd have the second team, and also Roy would have the whistle. He would be the zebra. He said, but tonight, that's not happening. Everything's equal here tonight. Roy doesn't have the whistle, baby.
Those days are gone forever, as they say, over a long time ago. Well, matchup problems possibly tonight for Roy Williams. Down to the baseline, the strength of the Seminoles of Florida State, and that's the reason they really denied UConn.
Well, I'll tell you, against UConn, they showed their great shot blocking ability. It was smasheroo. They just dominated on the inside, blocking shots. It was a block party. Here's Corey Lewis. He said, hey, get it out of the lane. Don't even dream about it. And then there's 7'2", Kareem Shabazz says rejection city. Well, let me tell you this. You talk about Kansas, Paul Pierce is an All-American. He plays big in big games. And then you add Rafe LaFrentz on the interior, two of the best big people in America. I got to believe they'll neutralize the shot blocking ability of Florida State.
And most feel their lottery picks for the NBA draft as well, LaFrentz and Pierce. So we're ready to go. Gary Thompson, New York native, back home. Pierce, one of the very best in the nation. And also Kareem Shabazz back home as well for Florida State. All right, Gary, thank you, and welcome back once again to the Garden in New York. So many Seminoles from the city, or at least the New York area, as we look at the FedEx starting lineups for head coach Steve Robinson, like Gary Thompson, who led Walton High School right here to the New York City title. And he beat at the time Stephen Marbury's squad. So Florida State ready to go. Baker, great shooting guard for them as well. And Rafe LaFrentz really got off to a slow start in the win against Arizona State. The key early tonight has to be LaFrentz for Kansas.
He's got to establish post presence on the interior, Joel. He's 10 for 29 in his last 2 games, and he's the first guy to admit, he said, I have not played like an All-American.
Thompson, a little bit long. And another opportunity, Randall Jackson, a very athletic big guy at 6'11", 210 pounds, the junior from Boston.
Thompson is their stabilizer. He's the guy that controls and can change them on the offensive end, gets them to execute. Showed a lot of patience. Steve Robinson said, we want to make them play defense. We want to really make them play defense.
Baker for 3. Was it last touch by Billy Thompson? Yes, it was. And Billy Thomas did touch it last, the senior from Shreveport.
You talk about Billy Thomas, as Roy really concerned about the defensive pressure on the perimeter, but Billy Thomas could put points on the board quickly. He was sensational in the overtime.
Backdoor baseline cut. Thompson's got the first 2 of the night.
Great cut by Thompson. Put the defensive player staring at the basketball. Good execution. Clinic 101 and how to run the backdoor cut.
Great assist. Good look by the big guy from the high post, Corey Lewis, as well.
Lewis matched up now with LaFrentz. Interesting matchup on the interior. Remember, Lewis has played against great big people. Played against Tim Duncan in the ACC.
Pierce with the left hand. 2 tries, a third possibly, and keeps it alive. What tenacity.
He's a great player in big-time games. Last year in the postseason, he was sensational. MVP at a Big 12.
Letting him play early. That was a kick by Randall Jackson. Reset the shot clock with 8:42 left in the opening 10 minutes of play.
I think when you talk about All-Americans, I think at the end of the year, when you look at the front line, it's going to consist of Pierce, LaFrentz, and Antoine Jamison. I think Jamison, to me, by the end of the season, will be the premier player in college basketball from North Carolina.
Got off to a slow start against UCLA last night on ESPN, didn't he?
Oh, they blitzed them. That was blowout city.
LaFrentz, good position, and draws the foul on Corey Lewis, who came over a little bit late.
We're going to watch Gary Thompson right here. Freeze it. Freeze it right here. See, right here. He catches him staring. Now, here comes the cut behind, and there's the ball, and he takes that up with the left hand. He's on the left side. There's Gary Thompson. Perfect for a left-handed player. You get the good angle. He lays it up on the glass and converts.
LaFrance shoots 2.
You know he has great touch. He's a real polished offensive player. When he goes to the next level, he'll certainly play at the 4 slot, the power forward slot, as opposed to playing in a hole and playing the 5 slot on a collegiate level.
Bad against Arizona State, as you can see. He picked it up when they needed him the most. 12 points in the 4th quarter in overtime. In that 2-point win, 90-88.
Execution really important to Florida State. Offensive efficiency, getting a high percentage shot.
Last foul, Randall Jackson was called for it, not Corey Lewis.
It's a new look when you look at this Kansas team. It's 4 guys from last year that were their 4 best defensive players.
Lewis with the size advantage. Nice little spin into the middle.
I'll tell you, Joe, when I saw him as a freshman, he had 26 and 11 against Rasheed Wallace of North Carolina as a diaper dandy. Come on. Nice look inside. Great execution.
And what a seal by T.J. Pugh, angling Randall Jackson right out of the play.
Excellent clinic on how to post on the interior. Good low post position. Steve Robinson does a good job teaching defense, and that's very rare. You're going to see that happen against a Florida State kid.
Terrell Baker's on the baseline. That's a turnover.
You're going to watch them on the interior right now. There's LaFrance right now. And there's Lewis posted up on the inside. Nice little goal. Jump hook to the lane.
Here's asking for it. He's got the advantage against Greer. Can't capitalize. And Greer comes up with a loose ball.
He's got that versatility. He can post you. He's an inside-outside player when you talk about Paul Pierce.
Jackson trying to back his way in. Pugh got around him to deflect it to Robertson. And out of control. Was a touch last by Pugh? No, Florida State.
T.J. Pugh did a great job in post defense right there. 3-quarter denying the basketball down in the post area. He's a role player. He's your consummate role player. He's a kid that does a lot of the intangibles. He'll screen, play on the defensive end. They can't wait also to get Lester Earl from out of LSU, who's a transfer. He'll be eligible the latter part of December. And he brings to the table a Windex man. He could really get on the glass.
Now the sensational freshman out of Whitmere Academy for Florida State comes in, Kareem Shabazz.
A lot of upside. You know, he's going to be up and down with his play early because he's just developing as a player.
He altered that shot by LaFrance. Got over in time. Lewis with the rebound.
Hey, Lewis looks very active here tonight.
Greer.
He made a big 3 last night. He was 1 for 8, but he made a big 3 when they needed it. I mean, they were hanging by a thread against Arizona State.
Billy Thomas. He was the main man down the stretch. Hit the game-winning shot last night. Couldn't find that 3, though.
With 11 seconds. Kerry Thompson, he's got over 300 people, he told me here today. All his friends, family, they're all in town for the Big Apple.
Thomas Robertson converging on Greer there. Thomas again. And both teams having their problems from the outside. Thomas with the reach-in. Shabazz with the hustle.
Roy Williams has such great respect for Steve Robinson. He was a member of his first staff, and you looked at that staff, all 3 guys are successes now as head coaches. Jerry Green at Tennessee, where they're going to be an improved basketball team. Kevin Stallings, one of the hot coaches in America at Illinois State. I mean, you take a look at these cradle of coaches right here. These 3 guys really doing it well on a big-time level, and that tells me a little bit about Roy Williams. You can tell a lot about a guy with the people they surround themselves with.
Thompson for 3. Almost tapped back in by Shabazz, who goes at 7-2, but he forced the last touch by LaFrance. It stays in the offensive end for Florida State. Shabazz out of Queens, MVP of the Coca-Cola All-America game in Indianapolis last April.
Hey, you talk about Kansas. What an unbelievable program in the 90s. A role model for so many. Graduated all 6 players last year. Go 34-2. Only lose 2 heartbreakers. And they've been such a dominant program in the 90s.
Thompson reversing it well. Corey Lewis available. And they need that 10-footer on the baseline from him.
Corey Lewis, I think, is going to have a big night tonight. He really looks to be playing with a lot of energy and a lot of enthusiasm.
Gibran Hill the assist. Good reversal that time by Florida State very quickly with the touch.
See now LaFrance being played by the young Viper Dandy. Should have a lot of experience. Good job right there by Shabazz beating him to a spot.
And a walk. A turnover forced by Shabazz, and that's a big guy. Let's remind everybody he goes at 7-2, Dick.
He goes 7-2. He's a young player, doesn't have a whole lot of experience, but he...
Kansas down by 2. They have the ball, or make it Florida State with the ball when they put it back into play. Tough to duplicate what Roy Williams has done. A couple of Final Fours, so many wins, Dick, in the 90s.
I tell you, Roy Williams, one of the class leaders in America, the winningest program in the 90s. You see 233 W's, 34 last year, 29 the year prior, then 25, 27, 29, 91, and 93 to the Final Four. I mean, they lost a heartbreaker in 96, had a great chance to go, but they got beat by Syracuse. Some people out there say, well, he hasn't won the big one yet. Are you serious? To me, that mentality belongs in the NBA. Whenever you can win as consistently as they've won and do it the right way, no NCAA violations, to me, that's a great example for programs across America.
I consider you a winner when your kids graduate.
Well, 6 graduated, walked down the aisle for Kansas last season.
And a try by Thompson, batted away to Thomas. Still a 2-point lead for Florida State.
Chenoweth is an excellent young player, number 44. He's matched up with a freshman. 2 freshmen going head-to-head inside. Chenoweth wants the ball. Get it to him. He wanted the ball. No shot. Right there.
One from New York, one from L.A. Chenoweth out of Villa Park High School. Same high school that
Kevin Costner. Kevin Costner.
You got it. You're all over it.
I know Kevin Costner couldn't shoot the jumper, but I know he could swing that golf club. Look at Chenoweth right now, number 44, banging down low. Look at Shabazz saying, I'm not going to let you get the ball. If I could only have Costner's looks. Oh, if I could only have his looks. Gary Miller, give me his looks.
Pierce knifing through.
Big time.
What about 2-position or 3-position in the NBA for Paul Pierce?
Well, you know, he can shoot the ball fairly well, so he has that versatility. I think he's a small forward, even though in the NBA he can play some number 2.
Great post up by Jackson. Just couldn't capitalize on the 10 to 8-footer.
Paul Pierce out of Inglewood High School in California produced Reggie Theus at high school and a guy by the name of Harold Miner in Southern California.
Chenoweth over Shabazz, and that's saying something, and Ron Hill with a rebound.
I think you're looking at 2 future outstanding players in Chenoweth and certainly Shabazz. They have upside, they're very coachable, and they got that great size that you can't teach.
Double team on Jackson. Shabazz barges his way in, and Chenoweth got a piece of it. And a foul coming up. Rendell Jackson off balance, picking up the foul. And don't forget, college basketball package can't be beat is ESPN's Full Court. Order it today. Hundreds of extra hoop games available night after night. I can't get enough of Dick Vitale myself, so call DirecTV 800-GET-SPORTS or your local cable company.
You know, Joe, John and Digger didn't go out and buy me that package. They didn't split the money and get it. Maybe Gary Miller would get it for me. $89. Come on, Gary, help me out. I want that package, Gary. I want that package.
I'll take care of it. It's done.
It's done?
It's
wow.
done. I'm
That's
taking care of it.
Unbelievable. Thanks a lot, Joel. It's my Christmas present.
Jim Burke, Bob Donato, and Ted Valentine are 3 officials. Notice how I changed the subject very quickly. Ryan Robertson, their lead guard has not touched the ball that often, and all of a sudden it's taken away. Thompson strong to the hole, and Pierce helped out.
Good job by Pierce, rotating over defensively in transition.
Robertson scoops it over. Lamar Greer, who's falling down.
Nice drive by Ryan Robertson. Good move, taking it to the goal, converting, but created by the block shot by Paul Pierce.
First lead of the night for the Jayhawks stays that way. Lewis couldn't take advantage of a 5-footer.
I love Paul Pierce. I mean, he just, to me, is a big-time talent.
Easy takeaway for Greer. Poor pass by LaFrentz. Takes it to LaFrentz and uses the rim to protect it away from him.
Yeah, great job by Greer. Greer's one of those kids, multi-dimensionals, play 3 positions, the point guard, second guard, and the wing.
Young man who's coming back to New York as well. Grew up in the area of Cape May, New Jersey.
Yeah, down in South Jersey. He's matched up now with Kenny Gregory. I love Kenny G. This kid's going to be a future star at Kansas.
He's out of Columbus, Ohio. Pierce, baseline there. Blocked from behind. And Hale backs it off Pierce, I believe.
You know, you look
Last touch, though, by Hale.
You look at this Kansas team, and I talk about a different personality. Last year, they were an attacking team defensively with Jared Hass and Jock Vaughn. And also on the interior, they had a shot blocker in Scott Pollard. Remember this now. They lost 2 first-round NBA players. That's a great deal to lose.
It's all Leaveville far tied at 8 with 3 minutes left in the first quarter. Welcome back to the Garden. Joel Myers along with Dick Vitale. And don't forget, coming up next on ESPN, Gary Miller talked about that triple header tonight. Semifinal number 1 of the Great Alaska Shootout. What a matchup. Number 5, Purdue. Gene Cady taking on UMass. Dan Schulman and Len Elmore standing by right after our matchup here in the Garden. 9:30 Eastern on ESPN. North Carolina Seton Hall, second half of that semifinal twin bill.
You know, you mentioned Lenny Elmore. What a great role model for young people. Lenny was one of the All-Americans at Maryland, a tremendous rebounder, one of the greatest in the school's history. And he also, as we look at Lou Carnesecca right here, Luigi. I know he's going to Carmine's later for a nice dinner down here like you did. I'll tell you one thing, Luigi Carnesecca. But let me say this about Len Elmore. He also academically, you ready for this? Got his law degree from Harvard. That is a complete package.
Blocked by Paul Pierce on the inbound series. Fourth turnover committed by Kansas. And they had a ton of turnovers. Better than 25.
They had 27 last night
against Arizona State.
And Roy was really concerned. He said, we were fumbling the basketball. We didn't get back defensively. But I'll tell you something, Arizona State had something to do with that. They played so well. But tonight they were blitzed by Connecticut.
Greer drawing the foul with the aggressive move into the paint. They'll call it on Chenoweth.
You talk about a difference in terms of one night versus the other. Last night, Connecticut, Kelly Elamine was 3 for 18. Tonight, he's 11 for 18, scores 29 points, and it's a different story when you look at the Connecticut team as they blew out. Wow, look at this. Georgia Tech with 3 diaper dandies in the starting lineup. Beat St. John's with experience with Hamilton and also with Lopez. I'll tell you, this year in the Big East, it looks right now. Connecticut clearly the best, and Syracuse right there at the next spot. And we don't know about Georgetown because they got some other kids that might be eligible. And if Anthony Perry and Sheffy get back in the lineup, they could create problems.
Elamine for UConn certainly bounced back tonight as UConn won 29. The third place game over Arizona State 82-61 as they hit 54% of their shots tonight. The Huskies over Arizona State out-rebounded them 42-28. Here's the first trap.
Half-court trap right now by Florida State.
Nick Bradford off the bench. Gave up the dribble early. Now Robertson in trouble. And Thompson takes it away. He lost the handle, but they'll say he's on the sideline. So the pressure did eventually pay off for Florida State.
You know, first of all, when you look at Florida State, they're not going to be intimidated, Steve Robinson, by any named school. Remember this, last year at the end of the year, they beat the likes of North Carolina at home. They also beat Clemson on the road. They beat, for example, Wake Forest with Tim Duncan. We're talking about top 10 teams in America. So these kids know what it takes to play against big-time competition.
Poor pass by Corey Lewis really bailed out.
Pat Kennedy had them playing well at the end of the year, went to the finals of the NIT before losing to Michigan.
Thompson with a beautiful bounce. Lewis can't convert, though. Chenoweth with the rebound. Strong push. Takeaway, though. Gregory wanted it. Thompson has it.
Gary Thompson makes the big play defensively, and then he dumps it down.
And Shabazz drawing the foul on LaFrentz, and that, I believe, is his first.
Kareem Shabazz, when he gets stronger physically, gets in the weight room, he's going to be able to catch the ball, explode, and jam that. Smasheroo. We're going to watch the defensive play. Look at Thompson with the quick hands. I mean, those are quick hands, baby. And there he is right now, penetrating. He drives, draws, dishes the 3D man, and he gets it over to Shabazz, who gets fouled.
And you talk about a 3 for 18 night for Elamine for UConn against Florida State. Well, Kerry Thompson had a lot to do with it with plays like that.
Florida State did a great job defensively against Connecticut, made them take some bad shots, but Connecticut was very impressive. Jim Calhoun had them come back tonight, and they were a different basketball club.
Matt Klebeck, a freshman from Naples Collier High School, a walk-on in the backcourt now. What a thrill for this young man.
His father used to play for the Jets, was a quarterback at one time. His father was coaching in professional football, Eddie Klebeck.
An 11-8 lead, largest of the night for the Seminoles. Gregory loses it on the jam. Bradford, what an acrobatic move.
I'll tell you, give him 5 points for that. I mean, that's like a dive in diving. I mean, that was spectacular from out of Arkansas.
Helped out Kenny Gregory just a little bit. Now Corey Lewis, great position again, but he still can't hit that shot. That time, though, it wasn't LaFrentz in his face. It was Chenoweth, a bigger guy. Robertson, tough shot. Shabazz looking for the transition. They've got a 3-on-1.
Nice pass.
Good decision. And Greer finishes.
Great angle, and Greer hanging the 45-degree angle in transition.
I like it, up and down. Gregory. It's tapped by Lewis over to Shabazz for another rebound for the freshman.
I think you're going to see Shabazz, Jackson, and also Lewis sometimes play together on that baseline, and they're going to create a lot of problems for people. I mean, Shabazz is ultimately going to be an outstanding player.
Starting to pick up now in the final minute of the first quarter. Everybody's still adjusting to 4 quarters in college basketball.
Can't wait till that's done next week. Get back to playing at halves. Our college game should have its own identity. Lewis trying to screen and step away from the screen. LaFrentz playing him out here on a perimeter, trying to take LaFrentz away from the basket.
Shot clock down. Greer has to do it. Last touch by Kansas. Second left. Now they're going to say last touch by Florida State. Jayhawks get it back. 26.8 seconds left in the opening 10 minutes of play. And Billy Thomas ready to check back in quickly for the Jayhawks. Ryan Robertson sits down.
Steve Robinson was 46 and 18 at Tulsa, did a heck of a job. He was an assistant down at Cornell in 1988. They went to the NCAA tournament, coached by Mike Dement, who's doing a heck of a job right now at SMU, where he's revitalized that program. Trying to get a lot of motion offensively, run the passing game, pass, cut, and go away. Watch Kansas. When they pass, they usually go away from the basketball.
LaFrance is available early. Steve Robinson wanted a 5 count. Thomas for 3. That's what he did so well in the second half of their first game here.
That was an NBA trifecta. See, he got confused with the line. He shot that behind. He shot that from the NBA line, Billy Thomas. Billy T with the downtown trifecta.
So the Jayhawks, leader in 3-point field goals last season, does it again. Season NIT championship, Joel Myers along with Dick Vitale and Billy Thomas, who won it last night with the tray.
Hey, take a look.
Big time free, Dick.
Take a look where he's going to shoot it from now. Watch him step out. Oh, freeze it. Freeze it. See, that's the NBA line. Come on, Billy, you can get over here. You don't have to shoot it out there. That's Gary Miller range. Look at him right here. He's shooting it from the NBA. He got confused. He liked the long-range jumper, the area code jump shot. He shot that from downtown. That was from Soho country.
Well, don't forget tomorrow at 3:30 on the Deuce. State bragging rights are on the line. Ole Miss travels to Starkville to battle the Bulldogs of Mississippi State. That is tomorrow at 3:30 on ESPN2, the home of college football. Join us. What a thrill for these young men.
Hey, tomorrow
coming to the Garden.
Tomorrow I'm having a Notre Dame party at our house. Football, watching Notre Dame on ESPN against Hawaii. I got all the Notre Dame people at my house. We're going to watch. They're going to win, and they're going to go to a bowl game.
Both teams started out very slowly, picked it up. You can see they were cold from the field overall, though, in the first 10 minutes of play. Rebounding almost identical, but Kansas giving the ball away again after 27 turnovers against Arizona State.
You know, shooting percentage is really down, but a lot is due to defensive effort by both clubs. Kansas playing pretty good defensively here tonight, much better than last night.
Corey Lewis with a rebound after the miss by Thomas, looking for another 3.
They got Pugh now playing against Lewis, and he's going to try to duck inside, do a little dive move and try to post him on the inside. See, he wants the ball in a box.
Jackson free after the pick. Tough break on that one, and LaFrance has the rebound.
Randall Jackson's a kid with a lot of potential. He can have some big, big nights. He's got to be a little bit more aggressive on the defensive end and rebound a little better.
What a move by Terrell Baker, and he gets it to Jackson.
Jackson right there in transition. He can run up and down the floor. Terrell Baker is a great addition. Comes out of Champlain Junior College out of Vermont. We were teasing the other day saying, Vermont, I didn't know they played basketball up in Vermont. I thought they got out the skis out there.
And they needed somebody to take over that wing spot, vacated by the departure of James Collins. The double team pays off. Baker and Thompson. Thompson the distance. Doesn't get the roll. Janice with the rebound, and he's fouled.
And he's a left-handed player. He's got a kiss there right on the glass.
First foul on Kerry Thompson. Joel Myers along with Dick Vitale. Congratulations to Jack Powers, Bob Burns, everybody involved with the Chase preseason NIT. This is our championship matchup. Number 25, Florida State taking on the second-ranked Kansas Jayhawks. And as I mentioned, I can remember first time I came to the Garden at Duke College basketball. What a thrill. These kids really, you can sense they feel the same way when you look at them in warm-ups and games. All the practices we've been to as the ball slapped away. 10 takeaways, now 10 turnovers as Thompson goes for 3. Thompson nails it.
Kerry Thompson, big-time player. He made some clutch shots last year. He clinched it with a shot at the buzzer. Also hit a 3-point shot at the buzzer to send the game into overtime against Connecticut and beat Connecticut in the semifinals last year, the NIT.
LaFrance continues to be very quiet from the floor. 5-point lead for Florida State. That is their largest of the night. They've got the ball on the run. Hale the distance. And it's going to be a charge on Ron Hale. LaFrance took a shot.
Good call by Jimmy Barr. Hale was flying through the air. I'll tell you one thing, these kids are playing with that strut right now that they certainly believe they can win. Talking about Florida State. And look at the discipline that has been brought by Steve Robinson. He's got an outstanding assistant right there on his left, Holman Crawford, whose son Adrian will be eligible next year, a transfer from out of Tulsa, and is a big-time player.
See if Ryan Robertson can get the right people involved. taking up that point guard spot from Jacques Vaughn. Life after Jacques for Kansas. And Hughes shoved before the shot by Corey Lewis.
I said the other day, Jacques Vaughn was one of my favorite college players. I don't care what he does on the NBA level. He's out of Utah. When you talk about a college point guard, he epitomized what you'd want out of a college point guard. As you look at Mr. LaFrentz on the sideline, on the cover of many magazines this year, he's a kid that got better and better last season, but had that extra help, played with a guy like Scott Pollard on the interior with him.
5-point lead for the Seminoles, 7:48 and counting left in the first half.
Nice pass.
Chenoweth against Shabazz. Rejected, coming over. Ron Hale got up.
I'll tell you, they got some rejectors when you talk about Florida State. Very tough to get those easy layups. They rotate so well from the weak side.
Roy wanted a common carryover and a turnover at the same time, but instead it's a foul on Bill Thomas. That's his second.
One thing about Kansas, they don't play Cupcake City as we want Chenoweth inside. Now tries to get along the baseline. There's the rejection. Hello. He said, forget about it. Don't even dream about it. Forget about it.
So with the ball in a 5-point lead, the Seminoles of Florida State and a fresh shot clock.
Trying to get good spacing against the Kansas defense, but it's the man-to-man.
Shabazz got away from Chenoweth, who commits the foul. Great pass, though, from the exterior all the way down to the low post by Ron Hale. Quick recognition.
Feeding the post is a lost art.
Thank you.
Trying to make that pass is not really an easy thing to do. We're going to watch him right now. He's making that pass to the wing as we see the screen. Now he's going to duck down inside, and there's the lead.
Good communication. A couple of young players get it inside. Harry Thompson rejected. That was batted away by the little guy, Ryan Robertson. So Robertson getting it done to the defensive end. And we've got Chenoweth trying to set up against Shabazz. Got a little physical early.
Not allow him to really get established in that post area. They're trying to clean it up right out of the gate here early in the second quarter. You know, I was talking about Kansas. They don't play Cupcake City. For this game, they go to the Grade 8. And what a matchup. They have a matchup with Arizona. As we look at the turnover right here and the points scored off the turnovers. Right now, turnovers forced, Florida State 11.
Second foul on Chenoweth. LaFrentz back in. Back door! LaFrentz didn't see it coming. Randall Jackson.
Hello. Up and away. Jam City. Slam, jam, bam.
Seminoles expand the lead to 7. LaFrentz wants it.
They're doubling up on LaFrentz, not letting him spin to the lane.
And Greer batted it away on the double team. Great defense by Florida State. 7-0 run right now. Can they make it 10? Greer is short. And what a play by Jackson to keep it alive. Frenzied pace for Florida State. Let's see if they can settle it down. And they do slow it down.
A lot of patience, a lot of poise. That's the discipline Steve Robinson has brought to this program. Nice execution.
Jackson ran right across the block. And he'll go to the line to shoot 2. Third foul on Chenoweth.
We're going to watch the back. There he is, the spin and the go. Right here, he goes to the lane off a spin move. Little simple reverse, a spin. They throw the lob up on top and they convert. They did a great job defensively in the next sequence where they were stopping LaFrentz from wheeling to the left to come across the lane. They doubling up and really trying to take away that driving angle.
In the semifinal, 10-6 for Randall Jackson.
They got a nice combination inside, an inside tandem with Jackson and certainly Lewis. And then they can really help Shabazz develop as a player as well.
Misses the first of 2 with 6:18.
I'll tell you, watch South Florida, a program that's really improving. Seth Greenberg, what a job he's doing recruiting. Cleaning up in the state of Florida, getting a lot of big-time recruits. He and his assistant, David Zimroth, who used to be an assistant at Florida State.
Kenny Gregory. And the touch there, Hale
Alternate possession. Ball goes over to Kansas. Alternate possession. Kenny Gregory's got that explosiveness. Last year was brilliant in a lot of the high school All-American games.
Did Hale get a piece of it, Dick? Yes.
Yeah, it looks like he got a piece of it. He's got those long arms, Hale.
Ron Hale's a sophomore from Largo, Florida. So the possession now is going to belong to Florida State.
Sitting in that 2-3 zone. They're going to play a lot more zone this year than they have in the past because they don't have that personality and that presence on a perimeter with guys like Vaughn and Haas defensively.
We talked about at the top of the telecast the matchup problems for Roy Williams coming in, especially down to the baseline as Pierce pokes it away. Still belongs to the Seminoles, and they still have 20. left on the shot clock when we come back. Florida State has taken over. They're the aggressors here in the second quarter, on top by 7. Jayhawks of Kansas still looking for their first point of the second quarter, and the Seminoles of Florida State's defensive effort has a lot to do with that. Joel Myers along with Dick Vitale. You see why that percentage is way down. Kansas has had their problems up against the big guys.
Well, you know, Florida State did a great job defensively also against Connecticut. They played a great team defense. When you talk about Steve Robinson, he's an architect of that. And he really believes if they play consistent defense, and obviously we've said that in any sport, whether it be football or basketball, if you have a constant play on a defensive end, you're always going to have a chance to win. And that's really what gave them a chance to win yesterday, because they were ugly early in the game offensively.
The assistant going up against his mentor. Right now, the assistant up by 7. Shabazz.
I'll tell you one thing, this kid is going to be something special. They got themselves a good one. What a future he has. Kareem Shabazz. Dick Weiss was telling me before the game, Weiss, he loves his upside, and I said amen to that.
Pierce rejected by Shabazz.
Wow, New York City, he's back home, baby. He's back home.
He's from Queens, played his high school basketball at Woodmere Academy out on Long Island.
Not great competition down there, but you could see the upside. Wasn't rated really super high in a lot of the services. And there he is rotating over, and he says, rejection city. Don't bring it in a lane, baby. Don't even dream about it.
Robertson from 3. Pierce strong. Gets it back, and another opportunity.
See, the one thing Kansas is not getting are points in transition off their defense. They used to be a master at that last year.
They've got 5 minutes into the second quarter without a point. Don't get the roll there. Was it touched by Pugh last? Yes. And the Seminoles get it back, leading by 9.
Last year when they beat Wake Forest, and they beat Wake Forest at the end of the year, Jackson was superb. He had 18 points and 12 rebounds against the best player in America, and we're talking about Tim Duncan. And they beat Wake Forest at the end of the year, and Jackson was superb in that game.
Very athletic big men, not bulky and wide bodies down low for Florida State. It's a 9-0 run right now. Lewis tries to add to it. Thompson, can he get the handle?
They're really getting the system of Steve Robinson, really understanding what he wants, and his definition of a good shot.
Greer helping LaFrentz up. I like it. He charged into LaFrentz, picks up the offensive foul. Looking for the 3 from Kerry Thompson, and that is the first on Lamar Greer.
I'll tell you one thing, he's overachieved in marriage, though. I met his beautiful wife, Lisa, last night. If he can recruit players as good as he recruited a wife, Steve Robinson is going to be a superstar. She is beautiful. What a dynamic personality.
You know, the same can be said about you and Lorraine, obviously.
She gave me a hug and a kiss last night, too. I want you to know, you were jealous. I saw you looking at her.
I'm talking about your wife, talking about overachievers.
Yeah, my wife is Bo's a 10, she's a 15. Anybody can live with me for 26 years has to be a 15.
LaFrentz after the miss, and Thompson has it. Taking it away from Pugh. Opposite end. Yes. Another one for Terrell Baker, the junior from Lawnside, New Jersey, coming back to the Garden.
Baker gets out in transition. He really can run exceptionally well, and they will run and push the ball if it's available.
Kansas hasn't scored, Dick, in the second quarter.
Nice look right there. Got to get an easy one there.
That's high percentage. Kenny Gregory.
That was created by the double team on LaFrentz, and he had the good vision to give it up.
Baker finds a trip to the stripe. Kansas did not get back in the transition. Fell asleep a little bit defensively.
Joe, we're going to watch the All-American as he gets post position on the inside. We're going to see LaFrentz right now. So hold him right there, freeze it. See right here, 2 people get on him, and that leaves this open right here for the layup. There it is, wide open. Simple mathematics. You don't have to go to Harvard to figure that out. Lynn Elmore went to Harvard. You don't have to understand that. If 2 are on 1, somebody's going to be open, baby.
Terrell Baker gets the first of 2 as Billy Thomas comes back into the game. Lead at 10 again for Florida State.
You know, Florida State playing brilliantly right now, but I look at the numbers of Roy Williams and I sit here in awe. I mean, they're just absolutely amazing.
Lead is ballooned to 11 again.
Got a great freshman coming in next year, Jeff Boschee. A kid that'll give him solid point guard play. And he also has a verbal commitment from Jerron Rush, a big-time player from out of Kansas City. He didn't sign yet, but he's got a verbal commitment that he will be coming to Kansas.
Ball taken away. Great move for a big guy. Randall Jackson fronting his man, T.J. Pugh. 14th turnover by Kansas already.
They're showing a lot of pride on the defensive end, Florida State. And that was a trademark of Tulsa last year.
Break
Nice
for
look.
Florida State. Lewis can't handle it. Taken away by Pierce. And TJ Pugh really batted it away to start it all off. Taken away again by Jackson.
See, Jackson's beating him to the basketball. You got to step to the ball. The French was waiting for the ball to come to him.
Baker for three. And Pierce has it on the weak side.
Billy Thomas has been quiet. They got to get his three going.
And then he Pierce as well. Tough break for Paul Pierce. The LA native on that one. Still only 2 points in the second quarter, 7 minutes in, as Thompson is blocked out of the play. Robertson picks up the foul. That's the first on Ryan Robertson.
Number 12. That Rock Chalk Jayhawk, that arena has really seen some great basketball. And I think there are going to be a little moments this year where their defense, as we look right here, turnovers forced by Florida State 15, and they got 12 points off those turnovers. On the other side, Kansas, who used to live off the turnover and create lots of offense, has 0 right now. Look right here. They had 0 in terms of points on that board.
Bunch of streaks on the line for the Jayhawks and their head coach Roy Williams in the Chase preseason NIT. Gary Thompson goes to the line, shooting the bonus.
Won the NIT in '89 and won it in '93.
And Corey Lewis, another try at the offensive end after the miss. Biggest lead of the night now, up to 13 for Florida State.
Corey Lewis and Jackson really playing well, showing their experience, and Shabazz helping. The guards are playing well. They're really playing well on all cylinders right now, Florida State.
They've won 11 straight, Kansas, in the preseason NIT. As LaFrentz forces a little bit, and Terrell Baker skies, the wingman. And also, they've won 17 straight on ESPN.
Baker really gives them an extra dimension. He gives them a rebounder from the guard spot.
Plenty of numbers coming into the game on the side of the Jayhawks of Kansas. The number 2 team in the nation, but they're down by 13, and they've only got 2 points so far in the second quarter. Jackson inside the foul line. He loves the outside shot.
He likes to play out on the wing. He likes to play on a perimeter more than going inside.
McGrath off the bench. They needed it.
Nice drive by McGrath.
Former walk-on out of Topeka. He's a senior.
He's had a lot of minutes, though. He played behind Robertson last year when Vaughn was out.
Jackson the cutter.
Spacing so important offensively. We don't allow people to give a lot of help. You get good 15 to 17 feet apart. We talk about that often, and that really is a key in getting good offensive execution.
Shot clock winding down. Jackson can't control it, but it went off Robertson. Good movement without the basketball, though. Steve Robinson's Florida State Seminoles, one of the big differences so far tonight. Off 2 nights ago, needed overtime to beat Arizona State. Now they're down by 11. Well, ESPN's coverage of the Grade 8 starts Tuesday night. Number 14 Utah taking on Providence, and the second-ranked Kansas Jayhawks battling defending national champions Arizona. Then on Wednesday, number 3 North Carolina matching up with number 19 Louisville, and number 7 Kentucky will take on 5th-ranked Purdue. The Grade 8 Tuesday and Wednesday on ESPN. And Dick, I know you can't wait to be at the United Center in Chicago along with your partner on that tournament, Brad Nessler.
Yeah, I can't wait to get out there to see Brad, who's done a brilliant job this year on ABC football. I'm going to get him in a basketball mode, and we're going to have lots of fun because that's going to be some night. Can't wait to see Arizona. I mean, when you talk about Arizona, to me, you're talking about one of the great teams in America.
Greer tried to draw the foul, didn't get the call up against Paul Pierce.
Got to make this open three. Oh, they great job recovering defensively.
Quick reversal for Kenny Gregory. And he got a wide open 15-footer. Wouldn't take it with Shabazz over on that side.
They did a great job recovering defensively out here on the baseline, Florida State. Really hustling on the defensive end. Don't give you too many open looks.
Gregory walked with it.
Created by the intimidation of Shabazz, the big guy. You stare at him, you think about a shot block, and it's a walking violation. You know, I mentioned Arizona. They hook up with Kansas. Arizona showed me a lot of heart and guts after emotionally being spent against Kentucky. They lose to an outstanding Duke basketball team, but they were down 20 at one time, and I'll tell you something. Most clubs would have rolled over and folded up. They came back and cut it to 6 with less than 2 minutes to go, and they played their hearts out, but they lost to a great Duke team.
Baker throws it away. It'll belong to Kansas, so a turnover for Florida State. But the story so far, 16 turnovers already for the Kansas Jayhawks.
And that's amazing. That's 27 from last night. As you look here, coming up next, you got St. John's and Georgia Tech, Illinois, Louisville. That was a nail-biter. Some football action with Gary Miller.
Gary Miller at the half. Not close. Gregory forced it. Greer looks for the break. And brought McGrath out, but couldn't get around him. And he's blocked by Pierce. Pierce just held his ground.
Yeah, good job defensively. Greer tried to take a bad shot there. Got to make the three. You got to knock the three. They need a big lift, and there it is.
Billy Thomas does it again.
That's a big lift. They needed that three. The three can change the complexion of a game quickly, and he's a very explosive shooter. Last night he was quiet in the first half and then exploded in the second half with 5 out of 8 3-point range.
5-0 spurt. Florida State. Final shot of the half. Gary Thompson. And Greer got it off in time. But it'll stay an 8-point advantage for the Seminoles. And what a start for Florida State. ACC against the Big 12. ACC on top right now by 8, 28-20. We head back to the studio and check in with Gary Miller. Gary?
All right, thanks a lot, Joel.
ESPN's presentation of the Chase NIT is brought to you by Durango. New ground for the new Dodge.
We're at halftime at the Garden. Only 20 points for the Kansas Jayhawks. The fewest points and a half for a Roy Williams coach team. And welcome back to our championship game of the Chase preseason NIT. Joel Myers along with Dick Vitale. Great defensive work consistently from the Seminoles of Florida State.
Well, they did a great job defensively. Last year, the lowest number they had was 23, Kansas, and that was against Cincinnati. Made some great adjustments, came out and won. But what a defensive effort. There's the denial and the steal by Greer, and then he converts with the reverse layup. And now we're going to watch the rejection, something they do well. Take it out of the lane. And now we're going to see the block party as it continues on the baseline. Now going to make them shoot a fadeaway jump shot. And now we're going to watch them on the other end. Oh, freeze it right here. Look at the way they recover defensively on him. Making him go here. They shut that down. Now watch when the ball is reversed. We're going to watch again. Now watch. Freeze it. Look at the recovery again. They come right onto the ball. Great job of recovering defensively. What a clinic. Now look at this right here. Freeze it. See how he's coming out? I mean, that's just hustling. That's coming out. Really taking away any good looks whatsoever. Look at those stats. Wow, look at this right here. 15 turnovers in a half. That's unbelievable for Kansas, and they had 26 yesterday, Joel.
Out-rebounded by 5, but we talked about the defensive work of Florida State, and that was definitely the difference. That 28% number for the Jayhawks of Kansas. Look at Paul Pierce, the leading scorer. He almost had a double-double in the overtime win over Arizona State.
I think if there's a positive for Kansas is you're only down 8, and LaFrentz and Pierce between them are 1 for 11. If that can be a positive, the fact that you can be -8 against a great effort by Florida State, and your 2 All-Americans are 1 for 11.
LaFrentz 0 for 3 from the field in the first half.
They got to get him involved offensively, try to get free for some shots to LaFrentz on the interior. Remember, he picked it up last night in the second half.
In and out. Nice play. Lewis can't finish, though. I like the way they went inside, back outside.
Good inside-outside action. What a great job they have done here tonight, Florida State, defensively and even executing, getting some good shots offensively.
It's the assistants against the measure. Steve Robinson against Roy Williams, and Pugh has it taken away by Randell Jackson. Good aggressive move. He had a couple of steals just like it in the first half.
Well, they telegraphed that pass. I mean, that's a Marconi special. You telegraph it. People can read the pass coming and step right in the passing lane.
8-point lead for Florida State.
Trying to show that reversal and get that dump down to the inside on the boxes. Trying to look for Lewis on the inside.
Jackson moving away, wanted to set a pick. Very unselfish group of Seminoles. Ball deflected. And picked up by Billy Thomas.
Good job defensively by Kansas in the last 2 possessions, but they got to convert after the good defensive stop.
Quick reversal. LaFrentz against Corey Lewis. Still problems, and Pugh will go to the line to shoot 2.
Well, there's Pugh hanging on the other side in a garbage position, trying to get that offensive rebound and converting. Free throw shooting will become big right now.
Corey Lewis really moving his feet defensively.
See them right here. There's LaFrentz trying to get that little jump shot against Lewis, and there's Pugh with the good offensive rebound.
That foul on Randell Jackson, and that's a concern now, his 3rd.
You know, you talk about Florida State, as I said earlier. I mean, you cannot forget the fact that they beat some clubs when they were in the top 10 in America last year, beating the likes of the Clemsons and the Marylands and North Carolina and Wake Forest. So obviously they have the potential to play against big people. And when you add Shabazz to the mix and Baker, I mean, you can see that they're a good basketball team.
What about that effort? Hustle by Paul Pierce with 3 Seminoles around him, and he would not quit on that missed free throw by Pugh.
Well, he's a tenacious competitor. He's a fierce competitor, has a lot of pride. You talk about the great number 3 men in college basketball. I think you got to look at Pierce as a 3-man, Vince Carter, Matt Harpring down at Georgia Tech, where they had the big win today over St. John's, beat them by 12. You got to think about certainly the kid from Jacobson down there in Minnesota and Michael Dickerson out of Arizona. I love the Arizona combination of Simon, Bibby, and Dickerson. But what a job Wojciechowski did on Bibby, and that was big in that game. You know, it's great that they recognized the effort of the little guy defensively and gave him the MVP in Maui. Steve Wojciechowski, I salute him as the player of the week.
He was definitely the difference, and that's why Duke got off to that huge lead early against Arizona.
Well, they knocked down some threes as well. And the scary thing about Duke, they're only going to get better and better and better. They're going to get Carrawell, they're going to get Ricky Price, and that team is just going to continue to progress. But let me tell you this, Arizona will be in the mix all year. They got class kids, excellent coaching, and they know how to win. They showed a lot to be able to come back and make that a game at the end against Duke.
Jackson sat down with 3 personal fouls. Shabazz, who had a phenomenal first half, takes over at the post position now.
They got 3 big guys they can rotate.
Thomas almost with the great steal. He would have had an easy layup the other way.
See, last year that was really part of their offensive makeup. Think about this. How many teams could shoot 20%, 27% and win games? They did last year, Kansas, because of their great defense. They shot 27% against Kansas State, Tom Asbury's club, and yet won the game.
Florida State very cold out of the locker room looking for the first point to the second half, and that hit the bottom of the basket. And that is going to be a little jam shot for Corey Lewis. The ball still belongs to Florida State in the offensive end.
Corey Lewis from out of Miami went to Northwestern High School. Leonard Hamilton trying to develop a program down there and not letting those guys get out of Miami. He doesn't want them to leave. But they got a couple that left this year. Miami Senior High School going to the University of Florida. With Mike Miller and Teddy Dupay, given one of the great recruiting classes in America for Billy Donovan.
They don't mind reversing the ball right across the paint. Still plenty of time left on the shot clock.
There's that screen, little screen and roll. Oh, they should have the ball to Lewis. Yes, they finally get it to him. Oh, nice unselfish.
Interior pass. Shabazz finishes. Great pass by Lewis. Unselfish play.
That's basically what you see, the good interior passing, but it's the unselfishness. It's the high percentage shot. It's that team concept. And that all starts with the man on the sideline, Steve Robinson.
Takeaway. Good effort by Lewis. But the loose ball picked up by LaFrentz. Pierce available for 3.
He can knock the 3.
He's got it.
Pierce and also Mr. Thomas could start shooting some threes. Ryan Robertson's got range. He's not even looking at the basket, though. Robertson's got to let some fly from the perimeter.
Greer will, and he'll get it.
He made a big one from that side last night, and he was 1 for 8, but he made a big trifecta when they needed it.
Seminoles needed it. Greer's got 9. The young man from Cape May, New Jersey. They're back up by 8. That was the lead at the break, 28-20. We'll see if they start to heat it up. Both squads on.
He's got to shoot it.
Robertson for 3.
I just told you a minute ago he can shoot it. He's got to think about the trifecta.
He was Mr. Basketball in Missouri back in 1995 at St. Charles West High School.
That's a show me state. You show me, baby. And he showed him, and he was Mr. Missouri.
5-point ball game once again, 33-28.
Well, you know Kansas is not going to go away. That's the personality of Roy Williams. A great teacher, a motivator, a winner. They're not going to go away.
Baker split the defense, and now they'll call the charge. Pugh took it.
Excellent call by Jimmy Barr, no doubt about it. And there's the role player again. We talked about Pugh. He's a kid that doesn't get a lot of recognition, but does the little intangibles, and there's one, stepping in and taking the charge.
He's out of Creighton Prep in Omaha.
You know,
he's a junior.
1989, they won the NIT, and I did the game. I'll never forget it. They go down and play LSU at LSU with Shaquille O'Neal, Chris Jackson at that time, and Stanley Roberts, and get the win. Then they come here and they beat the #1 team in America, UNLV, with Larry Johnson and Stacey Offman, and then finish off St. John's for the title.
Pierce blocked by Shabazz. Got a piece of Pierce as well. He'll go to the line to shoot 2, and I like the bounce wraparound entry by Billy Thomas. Now they're starting to get the ball into the hands of the right men in the right spots. So free throws coming up for Paul Pierce. And don't forget to join us on the Deuce Monday night, 7 o'clock, when Coach Danny Nee in Nebraska take on the Golden Hurricane of Tulsa at Tulsa. Monday, 7 o'clock on the Deuce. Nothing but net. You'll be there.
And that's the former school of Mr. Robinson. Hey, I'll tell you one thing, though. You're talking about Nebraska and Danny Nee. I did a thing today for ESPN, the 5 underappreciated players in America. Tyronn Lue. Where do you see Lue play? That point guard can flat out do it. He's a creator. Danny Nee's got himself a dandy one.
Pierce with 1 of 2. And the Jayhawks trail by 8 at the break. Down by 4 now with game of the preseason NIT. Joel Myers along with Dick Vitale. Just about halfway through the third quarter as we look at the USA Today ESPN Top 25. Kansas had the problems in our semis. Needed overtime to beat Arizona State on Wednesday night. And Dick trailing every step of the way tonight.
Well, they're trailing tonight because of the great defensive job being done by Florida State. As we look at the top 25, Connecticut has a big win tonight. Comes back after their loss against Florida State. Fresno State's a team to watch. As we look here, Florida State 25. They're certainly going to move up the ladder, there's no doubt. Indiana's got a tough game tonight. They're at Hawaii, and Hawaii's got some great guards. A kid by the name of Carter.
I like what Steve Robinson said when he was talking to us about working under Roy Williams. We have that matchup. And there's a three-point attempt by Greer. Little French with the rebound, but he said he taught you how to run a program. He let you get involved in every aspect of the program.
Well, Matt Doherty and Neil Doherty doing a fine job on that sideline, and Joe Holliday. I got to believe that the two Dohertys are definitely ready for a head coaching job.
LaFrentz used the opposite hand to get around Shabazz, wrapped it, hooked it, got away with it, and he'll take the basket.
I'll tell you, he's got some great moves on the inside. He really does. He's got great moves on the interior, good drop step, post moves. He came on strong last night in that second half, and they needed a big performance in that second half from him to get that W.
Hale rushed that one. Billy Thomas with a weak side glass.
See, Robinson's got to get a little confidence after knocking down that three. Billy Thomas can shoot it.
Kansas has the lead.
See, again, he's shooting from the NBA line. I really believe he doesn't understand where the three-point line is in college. He's confused because there's an NBA line out there.
Kansas has never led in the game. Shabazz throwing that one away.
Good
Paul
help.
Pierce with it.
He's got to kick it out. He's got LaFrentz as the trailer. He's got LaFrentz.
He heard you. It counts. And Kansas will have the opportunity for their first lead of this championship matchup with LaFrentz looking for the three-point play.
Well, LaFrentz gets out in transition. He's the trailer. They run the sideline break. They bring the ball up the sideline, and they bring it to the inside. Pierce kicks it up the sideline, and now we're going to look at the trailer. And there is LaFrentz. Loses the handle, was thinking about jamming, but gets the conversion. And Robertson, he's happy. He's jubilant, enthusiastic. Look, he's going to be a zebra. Hey, he's going to be like Teddy Valentine. Look at him, he wants to make the call. Ryan Robertson.
That transition working for Kansas after Paul Pierce kicked it out with his 13th rebound, which ties a career high.
Well, you know, against Cincinnati last year when they scored the least amount of points all year, 23 and a half, they made such an adjustment at halftime, came out and played, and they were a different basketball team. And they didn't have at that time Jock Vaughn either. And Cincinnati was #1 in America, and that was in a grade 8.
9-0 run by the Jayhawks.
I can't wait for that grade 8. What tremendous basketball next Tuesday and Wednesday from Chicago.
Don't forget later tonight we've got a doubleheader from Alaska. Tip. It looked like
LaFrentz.
It looked like Shabazz was in the neighborhood. Also Hale. Will they give it to Hale? Yes. Ron Hale. He gets his first basket of the night.
See the double up. They immediately, as soon as the ball goes into LaFrentz, it was another example how they rotated over and took his driving angle. But Mr. Pierce,
you better get out on him.
Just a matter of time. Superstars rise. He's in the Big Apple. He's in New York. He's on Broadway. Paul Pierce.
Randall Jackson with 3 fouls. Beautiful lob inside by Hale.
And I got a nice kiss from his mom here at halftime. You saw that, huh? Crystal Jackson. She came over and said, my guy could be a good player. He's just got to concentrate. I said, amen to that. He's got good ability.
Yeah, but how could you hammer her like that when you talked about her wanting him to go to North Carolina?
Well, she wanted him to go to
Robertson answers in the opposite end.
See, Robertson's got to think about shooting the rock. He can shoot the rock, and it gives him another dimension because that stretches the defense and allows you to get the ball to the interior.
They need big things this year from Ryan Robertson, the junior from St. Charles, Missouri. Taking the lead role now from Jacques Vaughn.
I'll tell you one thing about kids that wear the Kansas uniform. They are so mentally tough, and they're such winners with great attitudes, and they really are coachable, and that's why they're constantly having great years. They recruit quality people.
Kerry Thompson leaving it off for Jackson. He'll go to the line looking to tie things up with 3:02 left in the third.
Well, Kerry Thompson's mom came over too, and she was excited. And look at Kerry right now with that drive. Lays it down. We're going to watch Kerry Thompson right here. Look, freeze it right here. See the penetration? Get in the lane, draw. And now this guy's got a layup because he steps out and it's over. It's over. There it is, the little dish and the conversion. No, it wasn't his mother. It was his aunt, I believe, that came over here. Kerry Thompson. But it was Crystal Jackson. She was from Teaneck, New Jersey. Kerry's aunt, Bergen County.
Jackson gets the roll.
He's had some big days at Florida State, but he's also had some droughts, Randall. He's got to just be consistent. Very versatile. He's got good legs, good run.
They've stopped the roll. Now, LaFrance, good look at the basket. He still has his problems, though, from the outside.
That was a good look,
Guy Thompson with it.
They're playing Chenoweth and LaFrance together now, playing the two big guys together. Baker really knows how to play under control as well.
Corey Lewis back on the floor for Shabazz.
Good job recovering defensively, helping recover. See that recovery? But I got a switch here. Chenoweth's out on Baker. He's going to try to beat him with quickness.
And a rejection. Paul Pierce against Corey Lewis.
Paul Pierce is just a big-time player. I mean, you talk about a PT period, an All-American. That definition is Paul Pierce, just like Antoine Jameson at North Carolina. What a job they did last night. UCLA so small. When they had J.R. Henderson in foul trouble, it was Blitz City.
They don't need Jelani McCoy much, do they? Florida State led by 8 at the break. It's all even now. Now, Rafe LaFrance averages 20 a game. Paul Pierce, 18 per contest. And if you're a Jayhawk fan, you've got to like your chances when you look at those numbers.
Well, they're 5 for 19 so far in a game between them, the two All-Americans, but they were only 1 for 11 at halftime. So all that math tells me, and I'm a dummy when it comes to numbers, basically, that tells me you're 4 for 8. You don't have to go for Harvard, and that's 50% in the second half. So that means they made a little turnaround. But I think the big plus for Kansas now has been the play of Robertson, knocking down a few threes, making himself available offensively.
Let's see if Kerry Thompson.
Stabilizer. Just love how he plays under control. Doesn't force the action. He's a leader. He's an extension of a coach on the floor.
Good stroke. Hasn't really looked for the shot tonight at all.
Tallahassee Community College down there in Tallahassee.
Back home from Walton High School right here in New York.
They got another great player at Tallahassee this year, Marvis Thornton, going to St. John's next year.
Greer didn't get the roll. Aggressive move, good penetration, couldn't finish. And Pugh with the rebound.
That was good execution, though. Greer had a great opportunity. See, now this stretches the defense a little because they got to come out and check Robertson. They're going to try to double him up. It should open up a lane inside for the entry to LaFrance.
Here's between the legs against Greer. Throws it away. Thompson with the takeaway, the transition. Greer and Jackson. And Jackson finds the handle.
Did a good job, 2-on-1. Spread a little bit wider in the lane. Make one guy to play him. Bad play right there by Paul Pierce.
Looked like he was trying to do a little bit too much on his own, Dick. And a foul out top. Jackson now with 11 points after that last deuce. Corey Lewis just picked up his third, so now Lewis and Jackson, the two big men on the floor, with 3 apiece.
Wow, Tennessee really putting the hurt there. Notre Dame with a win. Pat Garrity, you gotta like Pat Garrity, really a great kid academically as well as a player. In fact, potential Rhodes Scholar, just like Drew Hansen is down at Utah. Talked to Rick Majerus yesterday. They're preparing for the grade 8. They play Providence. He likes his team. Tola and Goliath inside.
LaFrance again. Couldn't finish. Close to the basket.
They didn't go up really strong right there. Corey Lewis wants it down inside. Matched up with Pugh.
Things a little bit better for Kansas in the second half. More opportunities, though, once again for Florida State.
Trying to get that motional offensively. Using a high post screen and then a roll.
Jackson was available on the roll. A shove underneath on Ryan Robertson, though, who fouled out in overtime of the win over Arizona State.
The game comes down to stretch. Kerry Thompson's one of those clutch, buzzer beater kind of guys. He did it against Clemson last year, sent a game into OT against Connecticut.
He also
beat Georgia Tech with a shot at the buzzer.
And he hit a three-pointer against UConn in the semifinals of the postseason NIT that you just mentioned.
Yeah, he sent it to OT.
Thompson for 3. Does he get the roll? No. And a foul underneath is going to be on Pugh, clearing out Shabazz. Well, don't forget tomorrow, 1 o'clock on ABC, 4th-ranked Penn State travels to East Lansing, battling Michigan State. Great Big Ten matchup. Some of the country is also going to see Georgia Tech. So check your local listings for the game in your area. That's college football tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern on ABC.
Hey, Georgia's got a really good football team this year, good basketball team. They've done a heck of a job. Penn State and Michigan State. Michigan State's due for a big performance, but they're going against the Paisan, Joe Paterno.
Big play by Nick Bradford, right under the whistle. Coming off the bench and tying up Gary Thompson on the alternating possession arrow. Jayhawks get it back for the final shot, trailing by 2.
Trying to get that motion game going.
Billy Thomas doesn't know about a final shot. Pugh is blocked. Gets another try, though.
Nice head fake. Good head fake by Pugh. Stays with the ball. Good head fake. You got to like those role players.
Evens it up at 42.
You got to have those kind of guys on your club if you want to win. You can't just have All-Americans. You got to have guys that understand what their roles are, help on a defensive end, rebound.
You can't leave Baker alone. He's their best three-point shooter, and he's got it at the buzzer.
Terrell Baker with a little buzzer time gets that hug. Little difference playing here than playing over at junior college last year. He's in the Garden, baby.
Sure.
The big.
Welcome back once again for our final 10 minutes of regulation. Joel Myers along with Dick Vitale. We're at Madison Square Garden in New York. And happy Thanksgiving. Great holiday weekend, hopefully for you and your family, from all of us at ESPN. It's the final quarter of the championship game of the Chase preseason NIT. And Florida State with a 3-point advantage due to that three-pointer at the end of the quarter by Terrell Baker. Good look at the basket, Dick. They left him all alone.
Well, he was able to square his body. We watch it right here. He squares his body, gets that good wing jumper, and the bench jumps with jubilation. They do a little dance on the sideline. We get another look. There's Terrell Baker. TB with trifecta. Splish splash. I'm taking a bath.
The leading scorer coming in for Florida State with 13 a game.
Who made that song? I got my name up. Bobby Darin.
You're all over it.
Lost his life too young. What a star he was becoming. There's that zone right now.
And they leave him alone again. Shabazz tries to keep it alive. Good box out, though, by LaFrentz.
Yeah, good inside position. This is a big game for Kansas because their next time is with Arizona, 9 o'clock on Tuesday. And they don't want to go with a loss into that game. As you watch LaFrentz right there with that hanging little jump shot. All-Americans, don't they rise? Don't they rise?
Now, what a move by around the freshman. Took him to school right at the free throw line. He went right around Shabazz, who was trying to keep up with him.
Bradford very active defensively.
It'll be a 5 count and a break to Shabazz, who was fouled from behind by Pugh, and that should be number 2. Yes, only number 2 on Pugh.
That Kansas-Arizona matchup at the grade 8 is going to be special, and so is North Carolina and Louisville. And what about, hey, Kentucky and Purdue? That is going to be a special game because you know Kentucky's going to get better and better as the year progresses. They got a big matchup tomorrow with Clemson, SEC against the ACC.
That actually was foul number 4 on Pugh, who got a piece of it. Not deterred by his foul trouble. Deflected into Billy Thomas.
Oh, he had Robertson. Missed Robertson.
Now what a play by Greer to slap it away from Pierce out top. Greer at the opposite end. Can he answer? Yes. Seminoles by 3.
You know, Greer doesn't have great speed, but he's a kid that understands how to play. Very good basketball IQ. He's a blender. He's someone that just blends into the whole picture.
Nice drive. And blew it.
Well, I don't know about blow. He got bumped. He got bumped big time there, Joel.
I thought he was going to slam it, though.
Yeah, I did. He wanted to slam that. He really did, but he got bumped big time. Now he's got to convert it to the free throw line.
He did draw the 4th, though, on Corey Lewis.
See, right here, he gets into the lane. Now right there, he gets bumped. He gets the 4th foul on Lewis. Take another look right here. He's a left-hander, so he's in great position to dunk him, but he lost the handle. You know, last year he averaged 18 points a game, 9 rebounds a game, played about 28 minutes a game, shot 58% from the field, and in the line, he was 76. In the NIT, he was 10 for 29 in the last 2 games coming into this game, and he was 0 for 3 at halftime, so that was 10 for 32 prior to the start here of the second half.
You know, so many people said, why didn't you go to the NBA draft? He would have been a lottery pick.
Oh, I like his answer.
Said, on coming back for his senior season, his quote, I remember what Jock Vaughn said when he decided to come back. He said, you can't buy a year of happiness. And he was exactly right. He said, this is where I wanted to be in Lawrence with Roy and the Jayhawks.
Well, he's not exactly going to starve next year. I can tell you that right now. I mean, he's going to get some big-time green. But it was great for college basketball. He came back, Pierce came back, Jameson came back, Kobe Bailey.
2-point lead for Florida State after LaFrentz got one of two. Jackson doesn't get the bounds, but Shabazz has the foul underneath, putting LaFrentz down, and that is his third.
He has to really learn positioning, and that's going to come with experience. He's a young kid playing in a big stage now. This is uptown. You're playing with all the lights on you. It's not in high school. It's a whole different ball game, but he will develop. See right here. Now watch on the right there. See, freeze it right here. Right here, he grabs him. Oh, I was a little late right there. I was a little late. I mean, give me a turnover.
2 points for the takedown. So now Rafe LaFrentz back to the free throw line.
This place was rocking last night. Fleetwood Mac and company were doing their thing here.
I was here.
I know. I came for the shoot around in the afternoon, and there was nobody here. But Fleetwood Mac, they was setting up. They was setting up. I was here alone.
You were upset they weren't rehearsing. You wanted an early show.
I'd get a freebie that way. I don't have to pay for the ticket. You think I'm that dumb?
LaFrentz looks to tie it up with 8:26 left in regulation. Way short, but Pierce reacts so quickly.
Great rebound right there by Paul Pierce. Nice head fake from triple threat position.
Can't take advantage of it. Getting past Greer. Baker the other way. Greer. Can he find the trailer? Jackson's there.
Oh, showtime! And Crystal Jackson, his mother, gets up and does a little dance. She says, "That's my boy. That's Randall R.J." Wow. Hey,
what
maybe
a pass.
Bobby Bowden might want him. Make him a big flanker and throw a high pass into the end zone to him.
13 points now for Randall Jackson.
Flip it up. Flip it up. Go get it, Randall. And Crystal Jackson jumps with joy.
3-point lead for Florida State. Ryan Robertson rejected by Shabazz.
Shabazz with that good angle for the block shot.
A little over penetration like we saw from El Amin.
Yeah, a little bit too much right there. But you know what? You'd rather see him be a little aggressive. Nice play.
Off the pick, Kenny Gregory. He didn't waste a second.
Great job of screening away from the ball and creating the opportunity for Kenny G, Mr. Gregory. Hey, Kenny G can play that sax, baby.
Should be a phenomenal finish. We're tied at 49 now. 7.5 minutes left, and Robertson almost comes up with the takeaway.
How you doing, Ryan?
Dick wanted a conversation with Robertson.
We're going to watch right now. We're going to see the screen. Freeze it right here. Here comes that screen. He curls into this area here, catches it, and nails the three. There it is. Kenny Gregory, square to body, screen away. One of the options in their passing game.
Inside of 20 of the shot clock. Block again. Robertson has blocked Thompson twice now in the second half.
Robertson playing a really strong second half.
Get it into LaFrentz quickly.
Inside, outside, and double up. They'll have wide open shots.
Thomas way off the mark, but it's kept alive by Gregory. Pierce for three. Kansas is up by 3.
He's square. Paul Pierce delivers the big one. Paul Pierce from out of California, part of the California connection that loves to wear the Rock Chalk Jayhawk uniform.
Kansas has really come through beyond the arc.
75%.
Jackson, can he control it? Saves it to Thompson. Plenty of rubs by both teams inside. Perfect read. Jackson finishes. What a pass by Thompson out top.
Great two-man basketball, but it's the agility. I mean, the agility, mobility of Randall Jackson that made that happen. Good look by Kerry Thompson.
Jayhawks by a point. Approaching the 6-minute mark. The senior against the freshman. LaFrentz got Shabazz out of position. And a tap by Pierce.
Paul Pierce, the All-American stepping up. We're getting down to clutch time, stretch time. We're playing for the gold trophy. This is New York. This is the NIT. And remember this. Remember Kansas under Roy Williams won it in 89 and 93.
New career best for Paul Pierce in rebounding. He's got 16 tonight with that tap back.
Roy Williams trying to go for the hat trick.
Greer for 3. And LaFrentz kept Shabazz away from the glass.
You know, I said 8 for 12, 75%, 66 and 2/3. It's 2/3. Nice backdoor cut.
Oh, Thomas and Pierce lost it. Transition available possibly, but here come the Jayhawks. They've got 3 back. Thompson, not close.
Now you got to back it up. Now you got to back it up. You got to play intelligently here.
Thompson almost took it away while Robertson didn't hear you from across the way.
As a point guard, you got to back that up. John Gordon had great basketball IQ. See, he would have backed that up.
Great look inside to Randall Jackson.
Agile.
Follow this one, the great Alaska Shootout, Purdue and UMass. Coming up next, and then at midnight, it'll be North Carolina taking on Seton Hall. Now, when we talk about the Jayhawks of Kansas leading by 3 with 5:18 left, well, it doesn't get any easier for the Jayhawks next week. They'll be battling the defending national champions on ESPN in the grade 8 at the United Center in Chicago.
Yeah, that's an interesting matchup, Arizona and Kansas. But that matchup coming up later, Tommy Amica getting a shot now against North Carolina, but he's on the sideline with Seton Hall, not with Duke, where he served as an assistant. I'm sure he'd like to have some of those Duke players.
Shabazz choking off the baseline, but LaFrance capitalizes with the fall away.
Hello, the All-American center, knocking it down.
Notice how they're pouring it into the senior All-American against the freshman. Largest lead of the game now for the Jayhawks.
Well, I got that experience. Nothing like experience. Good reversal right here. That's the way to swing the ball. A lot of good things happen if you swing it side to side. You get some good angles for entries to the post. Corey Lewis is a guy that's got to step up and give us something inside.
Lewis is available on the opposite side. Can he take advantage of it? Tipped back by Shabazz. Last touch by Paul Pierce. And Baker created that extra possession with Shabazz underneath.
Wow, he's a hustling, scrappy kid. Baker's going to be a big plus. Look at LaFrance and Pierce. Look at the difference in the first half. 1 for 11. Now look at him in the second half. 8 for 15 for 24 big ones. Nothing like golden experience, and especially winning experience. 34 and 2. That's no accident. They were 34 and 2 last year.
Baker free for 3. Right on target again.
I'll tell you one thing about Baker. He squares his body, his shoulders, and gets a great look at the rim.
Baker has 10, 3 below his average so far this season.
Nothing like that three-point shot that could change the complexion.
And
there it is.
Comes back at the opposite end.
Paul Pierce says, anything you can do, I can do better. Anything you can do, baby.
Couple of lottery picks on the floor for Kansas, Pierce and LaFrance.
And no doubt about that. They're sitting in the zone now. Got to watch the gaps and seams of that zone. You got to recognize Baker, who can shoot it. Greer's going to be open.
Billy Thomas got a piece of it. Ryan Robertson is blocked. Gets it back. And Shabazz took it off the glass. That's off the lead. That hit the glass. They let it go.
I thought goaltending there. You could hit the ball on a glass in college.
I thought it got to the glass first. It's put in at the opposite end. Baker running the baseline.
But if it hits the glass in college, you can definitely pin the basketball if it's on its way up. In the NBA, you cannot.
That wasn't a pin, and Pierce doesn't mind. He is not distracted to the other end.
Pierce with the jumper.
6-point lead. Pierce has 21.
Ooh, I thought they missed that goaltending. 10 for 14. That three-point shot has been big for Kansas. Unbelievable.
They stay in the zone, Nick.
Yeah, they're sitting in the zone right now. They're trying to use the skip pass, which is effective against the zone.
Greer. Kept alive by Jackson. Jackson gets it again.
Got fouled.
And Jackson will go to the free throw line to shoot 2.
Let me explain this. In college basketball, if the ball touches the glass, you can definitely make contact with the ball, but it's got to be on its upward flight. That ball was coming down.
Thank you.
That ball was coming down. That ball should have been definitely counted as a deuce. That should have been goaltending. The ball reaches its apex and it's on its downward flight. That is definitely goaltending.
We had a pretty good look. It was on our side of the floor. Good angle at it.
Yeah, good angle. I'm blind on my left eye, and I was still able to see that. How could 6 eyes not see that? I got 1 eye.
Randall Jackson only 1 for 4 at the stripe tonight.
Well, we talked about Florida State. Digger Phelps mentioned it in the studio last week. 58% as a team on the free throw line, and that can come to hurt you at clutch time. Just like football, special situations, attacking pressure, making free throws is just like the kicking game. You got to execute.
2:48 remaining. Jackson can't get either one. We will take a timeout. Final 2:48 coming your way with Kansas up by 6. Hey, we spoke with Steve Robinson on what it was like working under Kansas head coach Roy Williams.
I always felt that I learned how to run a basketball program. I thought that he gave us all an opportunity to watch him in terms of and give us an opportunity to participate in running a program. And day-to-day operations is more than just stepping on the court and practicing. You know, he's always been very fair, and those are the things I try to instill and take to use with our team.
Tell you something else also
And the
Roy
other
likes
thing
to
is
do.
just trying to be prepared and working extremely hard. He does all those things, and we used to say, God, you know, you have to work hard because he's worked so hard, and if you didn't, you felt embarrassed that you weren't prepared for whatever the task was that you had to have completed.
Now, if you just I'll tell you something else. Roy makes sure he surrounds himself with good family people. Just like Roy, so proud of his son, Scott, his daughter, Kimberly, we met last night, and his lovely wife, Wanda, a great family, and he wants that to be an extension of his coaching staff. Steve has that great family with his wife, Lisa, we talked about earlier.
Pierce and LaFrance. Pierce with the ball now, taken over in the second half. They've outscored Florida State combined. The two have 30 points together compared to Florida State's 28 so far. LaFrance loves that baseline follow away and gets it off the glass. It'll count, and a foul coming up against Pugh.
I'll tell you one thing, Pierce and LaFrance have really stepped up, and without their performances, it's going back home with silver. They got a chance to go home with the goal because both All-Americans have stepped up. There he is operating on Corey Lewis, one-on-one. The little spinning fadeaway jump shot goes down.
You know, has a great fadeaway on the baseline either side. Olajuwon loves to fall away on the baseline with great touch. And LaFrance has a beautiful 12, 14, 15-foot fadeaway just like that.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. That fadeaway jump shot is so difficult to block. As we look again at the difference in the first and second half by the two All-Americans.
Pugh is fouled out. Now Chenoweth comes back into the game with 4 personal fouls.
Chenoweth's a young man. It's going to be a very special player.
Shabazz. And Lewis couldn't control it. Pierce has it. What a break for Kansas. Kansas with the ball.
Nice pass by Robertson.
Up by 8.
Robertson's done a heck of a job here in the second half, putting some spark in his club.
What a huge difference in his performance against Arizona State, the one we're watching tonight.
Well, they had to come to play here in the second half, make some adjustments. There he is, Robertson. He can stroke it.
He was looking for his third three-pointer of the second half as well. And wasn't that far off the mark. Minute 45 left.
Big possession right now. If you talk about a crucial possession, this is one right here for the Seminoles.
Thompson trying to get to it. Billy Thomas wouldn't quit.
And he got the, almost had the trailer for the layup. Great hustle right there by Thomas.
And Thompson thought it was going to go out of bounds. Really didn't keep up with Billy Thomas. And the reach in by Baker, sending Robertson to the free throw line where he had 80% of his opportunities last year. Well, we've talked about it. Kansas is going to be there. ESPN's coverage of the Grade 8. It all starts Tuesday night. Number 14, Utah, matching up with Providence. Then second-ranked Kansas, battling defending national champions, the Wildcats of Arizona. Then on Wednesday, number 3, North Carolina will take on number 19, Louisville. Louisville with a win earlier today. And number 7, Kentucky will match up with 5th-ranked Duke. The Grade 8, Tuesday and Wednesday. Dick, you'll be there on ESPN.
Out there, Brad Nessler and I know are going to be excited about being there. But in that matchup with Kansas and Arizona, Kansas is going to really see some superb quickness because the perimeter people, when you talk Simon and Bibby and Dickerson, are very quick. And on the interior, they're very quick with Davidson and Bramlett. So that is really a plus. Plus, their bench is excellent in Arizona. And they're certainly going to be a top 5 team all year long. And the ACC this year is clearly the best conference in America from top to bottom. When you look at Carolina, Duke, and throw in the likes of the Marylands, Clemsons, and the Florida States, you better believe that that ACC is going to be dynamite. And Wake Forest, even though they lost Duncan, certainly a major big-time loss, they're already showing people that they're going to be an improved basketball team as the year progresses. Certainly not on the level they were last year.
Now, Ryan Robertson, and don't forget, Dan Schulman, Len Elmore, up at the Great Alaska Shootout. This is the first of a triple header tonight on ESPN. We've got 2 more coming your way. Purdue and UMass following our matchup at the Garden.
We got to get back to the hotel. I got to watch that game. I got to get back there and watch that Purdue game.
Robertson didn't get the roll. And he lost it off his knee, trying to take it away from Kerry Thompson. So still some life left for the Seminoles with 1:22 remaining.
Good call by Bobby Donato right on that line. What can I expect? The name is Donato. He's a rigatoni man.
2 30-second timeouts remaining. Don't forget for Steve Robinson. So late in the game after baskets, when they need them, they do at least have those chances. Stop the clock.
This possession, big right here. You might go a little inside, outside, and kick it out for the 3.
And Greer.
They try to get it off.
Short.
They try to get it off dribble penetration.
Baker has been their best three-point shooter tonight. Jackson, a little hard. And the foul coming over the back.
the poise of Kansas. When they got behind, they never panicked. That shows the unbelievable experience of knowing how to win. You're 34-2 last year. In fact, the 2 losses were by a total, you ready for this, a total of 5 points. They were 3 baskets away from being undefeated, and that's amazing because they take everybody's best hit, and that's the sign of greatness, when you can take everybody's best hit and yet you can walk out to that locker room with another W.
You just saw those numbers, the 3-pointers. The difference in the game for the Jayhawks is Paul Pierce is 3 of 5 from the strike. He's got 22 points tonight and 17 rebounds, a career best.
Well, I'm going to give the MVP. He's got to be the MVP. He's got to get the gold trophy. He was the MVP last year of the Big 12. In fact, he had 30 against Missouri in the final game, and during the postseason, he was sensational, averaging better than 21 a game and 10 rebounds a game. Paul Pierce loves the big contest.
Year before, MVP of the Big 8 conference tournament.
He likes those gold trophies.
The ball rejected, and last touch by Florida State. So the Jayhawks in control by 10.
Jayhawks got another NIT title. This will be the 3rd one. The hat trick. Who said I don't know anything about hockey? You tell John Saunders. I know hockey. The hat trick. They won it in '89. They won it in '93, and they're winning it in '97.
Let's just hear you say Messier once again.
Mark Messier. I told you I heard about him on The Fan from Francesa and the Mad Dog. I was listening to The Fan. They were talking about Mark Messier. I can pronounce that name. You tell Saunders. I know hockey.
The Jayhawks raise their record to 6-0. So the mentor taking his first matchup, or the head coach rather, taking his first matchup with his assistant Steve Robinson. And Roy Williams, don't forget, was down by 8, so the adjustments came, and we talked about it. The combination of LaFrance and Pierce alone have outscored Florida State in the second half as a team.
Well, he got the both guys to really perform in that second half with his probably best rhetoric at halftime. He's a great guy at making adjustments at halftime. He did it last year against Cincinnati when he only scored 23. They had 34 between them here in the second half, Pierce and LaFrance, and Florida State had a total of 28.
Thompson a little bit short, and LaFrance is fouled by Shabazz. It'll also keep a streak alive on ESPN for the Jayhawks. It'll be their 18th consecutive win on ESPN.
Both clubs are going to get better and better. Let me just tell their fans, you look at Florida State, they're going to get better as they play and get a little bit more familiar with the system, but also with the arrival of Devonair Dees and also Oliver Simmons, a transfer 6'8" from out of Kentucky. Both guys will be in the lineup the second semester, and that's the latter part of December. On the other side for Kansas, they add the former high school All-American Lester Earl to their formula, and he becomes eligible the latter part of December. So both teams are going to get more personnel.
Lester Earl, Mr. Basketball in Louisiana a couple of years ago, is going to become eligible at Kansas on the 19th of December. 2 straight years in the preseason NIT for Steve Robinson. Split a pair of games last year. Lost to Duke in the semifinals. Won over Evansville in the 3rd place game.
You mentioned a little bit earlier what a great job Jack Powers does here. He and the beautiful people, Marjorie Manhart, Christine Fallon, and all those people do a phenomenal job. And the first class with the awards, allowing the kids to go to different plays in the community, to learn a little bit about culture as well. And it's just a great, great tournament for young people to kick off college basketball. Plus, it eliminates Cupcake City. You get really solid performances.
And it gives you the marquee matchups the coaches really like now, because when players do leave early, sometimes there's an identity crisis with some of the players on these teams early in the season.
I don't know about if all coaches like those marquee matchups. They like those cupcakes and get those W's, but a secure coach who has the big contract doesn't mind it.
Roy can't believe that Bradford just committed a foul over on the Kansas bench. What a second half it has been, though, for Paul Pierce, who should be the MVP of this championship.
Well, he shows his range as a shooter. There he is shooting a little splish-splash with the trifecta. Then he shows he can play on the defensive end with a little smasheroo. Then he comes back with another J. That's NBN, nothing but nylon, from Inglewood, California. And they've had so many great players from California. Jock Vaughn, Rex Walters. As you look at his numbers, 23, 21 in the second half.
Former Big 8 Freshman of the Year. UCLA didn't want him too much, did they?
Well, I'm sure UCLA wanted all those kids from California that would have liked to gotten Chenoweth. They could have used some size. I felt so bad for Steve Lavin last night. At one time, he was playing Tony Bailey and 4 other guards because they had no size.
Well, they lost out on Burgess as well and Chenoweth, and Burgess ended up at Duke.
You know, we mentioned a little bit earlier Fresno State. I want to just simply say this. It was really heartbreaking watching Chris Herron in that interview. And all I can simply say to Chris is that he's on his way to beating his problem by, number one, identifying the problem, defining that he has a problem, admitting that he has a problem. And now he has to get the different remedies to try and solve his problem. And he can beat it. He's young enough that he can definitely beat that problem with the drug scene. And we're hoping and praying that he does. We hate to see any youngster get into that part of life.
The sophomore from Fayetteville, Arkansas, Nick Bradford. It's the first of 2. Clear that bench. Terry Nooner's coming in, a sophomore from Raytown, Missouri, a walk-on last season to join C.B. McGrath in the background, or backcourt rather.
They get their NIT watches. They love those NIT watches.
Well, you talked about it, the experience for the 4 teams that got a chance to come to New York.
New York, New York. Let me sing that for you. Want me to sing that? A little New York, New York for you? I can do a little Sinatra.
I don't want to lose our audience. As Hale banks one in on the window from about 17 feet away. It's a 12-point lead for Kansas. They were down 28-20 at halftime. They started to pour the ball inside to LaFrentz, who went to work when they got into foul trouble down low. Shabazz had to come into the game, and that's when LaFrentz really got the ball regularly.
That's a +20 differential here when you look at being down 8 and +12 right now. That's a 20-point margin. This game has been a lot closer than that score indicates.
Don't forget, coming up next on ESPN, part of our triple header tonight, first semi in the Great Alaska Shootout. Purdue, ranked number 5 in the nation, against UMass. And I consider Gene Katie one of the top 5 coaches in the nation as well.
He's an outstanding guy who can motivate, he can teach, and they got a great combination in Austin and Miller. And the kid Cornell and Robinson, they're outstanding. I can't wait to see them tonight, but also see them against Kentucky. Last year they played Kentucky. They didn't have the firepower they had this year. Because the one thing Kentucky right now doesn't have is that superstar go-to guy like an Antoine Walker or a Ron Mercer that they had last year.
Kenny Gregory going to the free throw line to shoot 2. 13.3 left. Going to be the first loss of the year for the Seminoles of Florida State. They will fall to 4-1.
Kansas moves to 6-0. Unbelievable. 233 W's in the 90s. The winningest program in college basketball. And plus they graduate players, and there isn't anything, you don't hear anything about NCAA sanctions. They just do it the right way with class.
The 3 barely out for Greer. And McGrath has a rebound.
It's the 100th year of Kansas basketball. A big celebration as they finish it with a Gregory jam. Oh, it was a party here for Kansas.
What a week for the Jayhawks, LaFrentz, and especially Paul Pierce. For Dick Vitale, I'm Joel Myers. Thanks for joining us all week long at the Garden in New York. Our final score, Jayhawks 73, Seminoles 58 in the championship.